You stand at the crossroads of your life, where every word you speak shapes the world you live in, a world of chaos or a world of creation. The air hums with voices, some sharp with judgment, some heavy with doubt, some silent with regret, each one a thread in the tapestry of your existence, woven by the language you choose. Your words are not just sounds. They are weapons, they are bridges, they are keys to unlocking the doors of your destiny. Most people wield their words carelessly, letting them wound instead of heal, divide instead of unite, destroy instead of build. But you are here because you feel the power within them, a spark waiting to ignite, a force waiting to transform. Master your words, and you master your world. This is your call to rise, to speak with intention, to create with purpose, to claim the life you were born to lead. Picture a blacksmith's forge, the fire blazing, the hammer striking, the metal glowing under the heat of creation. Each blow shapes the steel, each spark refines its edge, each moment builds something strong, something lasting, something unstoppable. That forge is your mind, that hammer is your will, and that steel is your words. Most people let their forge grow cold. They speak without thought, strike without purpose, shape without vision. Their words become dull blades, cutting relationships, dulling dreams, dulling their own potential. They let anger sharpen their tongues, let fear silence their voices, let apathy rust their influence. But you can choose differently. You can stoke the fire, wield the hammer, forge words that build bridges, ignite hope, and carve a world of your own making. Your mindset is the crucible where your words are born. It's the place where every thought takes form, where every intention finds voice, where every dream finds expression. Most people let their minds become a storm of chaos, raging with resentment, clouded with confusion, drowned in negativity. They speak from that storm, and their words become thunderclaps of destruction, lightning bolts of division, raindrops of despair. They don't master their minds, so they don't master their words. They don't control their thoughts, so they don't control their impact. But Carnegie understood this truth. In 1936, as he penned How to Win Friends and Influence People, he saw a world torn by economic collapse, by mistrust, by harsh words that fueled conflict. He didn't teach people to shout louder. He taught them to speak wiser. He taught them that the mind is the master of the mouth, that every word begins with a thought, that every thought can be shaped to heal, to connect, to inspire. Your mindset is the foundation of your power. It's the soil where your words take root, the canvas where your influence is painted, the battlefield where your victories are won or lost. Right now, your thoughts are forging the words you'll speak tomorrow. If your mind is a garden of doubt, your words will be weeds that choke connection. If your mind is a fortress of fear, your words will be walls that isolate you. If your mind is a sanctuary of purpose, your words will be seeds that grow into legacies. Most people let their minds become a wasteland. They don't tend their thoughts, don't prune their negativity, don't cultivate their potential. They speak from habit, from reaction, from weakness. But you can choose differently. You can choose to master your mind, to shape your thoughts, to forge words that uplift, that unite, that transform. Let me tell you about a woman named Grace, a young teacher in a city where hope was a rare commodity, where students arrived with more scars than dreams. Grace faced classrooms filled with anger, with defiance, with silence, each a wall built by words of rejection, of failure, of worthlessness. She could have mirrored that language, could have raised her voice to command, could have let frustration dictate her speech. But Grace chose mastery. She spoke with calm, with care, with intention. She told her students they were enough, that they were capable, that their voices mattered. She didn't just teach lessons, she taught belief. And slowly, those words broke through, walls crumbled, eyes lifted, hearts opened. Years later, when one of her students stood as a community leader, he credited Grace, not for her knowledge, but for her words. Because it was her mastery that transformed his world. Your words are not random. They are reflections of your belief. Belief is the fuel that powers your speech, the conviction that gives your words weight, the faith that turns your voice into a force. Most people speak without belief. They mumble through life, doubting their worth, questioning their impact, shrinking their influence. They say, "I can't," because they don't believe they can. They say it's impossible because they don't believe in possibility. They say, "I'm not enough," because they don't believe in themselves. But Carnegie believed differently. He believed that words carry the power to change minds, to shift perspectives, to build futures. He stood before audiences, not with arrogance, but with belief. Belief in his message, belief in his listeners, belief in the transformative power of a single, well-chosen word. Belief is the spark that ignites your voice, the compass that guides your speech, the first step toward mastering your world. But belief alone is not enough. Most people stop at belief. They feel inspired for a moment, speak with passion for a day, but they don't sustain it. They don't let it grow. They don't let it shape them. To master your words, you must pair your belief with clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of intent, clarity of the impact you want to create. Without clarity, your words are just noise, your speech just sound, your influence just a fleeting echo. With clarity, every word you speak becomes a declaration, every sentence a mission, every conversation a transformation. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of marble, chisel in hand, vision in mind. He sees the statue within, strong, graceful, alive, but the marble is rough, unformed, full of potential. He could strike blindly, hoping to uncover beauty by chance. But he doesn't. He studies the stone, plans each cut, directs each blow. He works with clarity, with precision, with purpose. That sculptor is you. The marble is your life. The statue is your world. And clarity is the chisel. Most people lack clarity. They speak without direction, act without intention, live without focus. Their words scatter like leaves in the wind, lost, forgotten, ineffective. But you can choose differently. You can choose to wield the chisel, to shape your words, to carve a world of your own design. Clarity begins with a single question. What do I want my words to do? Not what do I want to say, not what do I want to prove, but what do I want to create? For Carnegie, it was clear he wanted his words to build connections, to inspire growth, to empower others. He didn't just speak to be heard. He spoke to be understood. He didn't just teach to inform. He taught to transform. He didn't just write to sell. He wrote to uplift. And that clarity turned his words into a legacy that echoes through time, touching you now, calling you to master your own. Let me tell you about a man named Elias, a shopkeeper in a town divided by mistrust, where rumors flew like arrows and words cut like knives. Elias could have joined the fray, could have spread gossip, could have let his voice fuel the fire. But Elias chose clarity. He asked himself what his words could do. Could they heal? Could they unite? Could they build? And with that clarity, he spoke differently. He greeted each customer with kindness, listened to every complaint with patience, offered every solution with respect. He didn't just sell goods, he built trust. He didn't just run a shop, he created a community. And when the town began to mend, when neighbors became friends, when division gave way to unity, Elias stood as proof. not of his eloquence, but of his clarity, because it was his mastery that transformed his world. Clarity is not a gift bestowed upon you. It's a practice you pursue. Every day, you must sharpen your chisel. You must ask yourself, what will I say today? How will I say it? Why does it matter? The world will try to dull your edge. Distractions will pull you off course. Anger will tempt your tongue. Fear will silence your voice. But when you're clear, you're unshakable. You don't just speak, you create. You don't just communicate, you connect. You don't just exist, you influence. And here's the secret Carnegie knew. Clarity turns words into power. When you know what you want your words to do, they carry weight. They don't just fill the air, they move hearts. They don't just pass the time, they change lives. Most people lack this clarity, so their words remain weak. Empty promises, idle chatter, wasted breath. They don't direct their speech, so they don't direct their world. They don't shape their words, so they don't shape their destiny. But you can choose differently. You can choose to speak with clarity, to act with intention, to live with impact. Clarity alone, however, is not enough. It's the plan, not the execution. To master your words, you must pair your clarity with vision. A vision of a world shaped by your speech. A world where every word you utter builds something greater. A world where your voice becomes a force for good. Vision is the ability to see beyond the marble, to imagine the statue, to dream the impossible into reality. It's the courage to speak not just for today, but for tomorrow, not just for yourself, but for others, not just for the moment, but for the legacy. Think of a river carving a canyon through the earth, its waters steady, its flow relentless, its path unyielding. It doesn't carve the canyon in a day. It flows day after day, year after year, shaping stone with quiet power. That river is your words. The canyon is your world. And vision is the current. Most people let their words stagnate. They don't flow with purpose, don't carve with intention, don't shape with vision. They speak without direction, live without impact, leave without a mark. But you can choose differently. You can choose to let your words flow, to let your vision guide, to let your world be carved. Let me tell you about a woman named Priya, a journalist in a city where truth was buried under lies, where voices were silenced by power, where words were weapons of division. Priya could have written for profit, could have chased headlines, could have let fear dictate her pen. But Priya had a vision of a city where words revealed truth, where voices lifted the fallen, where stories united the broken. And she let clarity guide that vision. She understood the power of her words, felt the weight of her responsibility, connected with the hope of her readers. She wrote with courage, published with conviction, spoke with integrity. She didn't have a platform, but she had a voice. She didn't have support, but she had a vision. And slowly, that vision grew. Truth emerged. Voices rose, a city changed. Not because Priya was loud, but because she was visionary. Your vision is your legacy. It's the current in the river, the light in the forge, the statue in the stone. Most people lack a vision, or if they have one, it's too small, too selfish, too easily abandoned. They speak for the moment instead of the movement, for the self instead of the soul, for the now instead of the forever. But you can choose differently. You can choose to dream big, to dream bold, to dream beyond the chaos. What do you see when you close your eyes? A family strengthened by your words, a team inspired by your speech, a world transformed by your voice. Whatever it is, make it vivid. Hear the echoes, feel the impact, see the change. Let it live in you, because a vision that lives in you will never let you speak less than your best. And here's where most people falter. They dream, but they don't act. They see the canyon, but they don't let the river flow. They have the vision, but they lack the purpose to bring it to life. Purpose is the heartbeat of your words. It's the why behind your what, the fuel behind your voice, the reason behind your resolve. Without purpose, your vision is just a picture, your clarity just a plan, your belief just a feeling. With purpose, every word you speak becomes a mission, every sentence a milestone, every conversation a transformation. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you choose. It's the decision to live for something greater than your ego, to dedicate your life to a cause beyond your comfort, to pour your voice into a mission that matters. For Carnegie, it was a world where words built bridges, where speech inspired growth, where influence came from understanding. He didn't stumble into that purpose. He claimed it. He didn't wait for the world to hand it to him. He spoke it into existence. And when he did, it became the foundation of his legacy, a legacy that lives on a century later, calling you to master your words right now. Most people lack purpose, so their words remain hollow. They speak for the applause instead of the impact, for the moment instead of the meaning, for the self instead of the soul. They don't know why they speak, so they don't know what to say. They don't have a purpose, so they don't have a power. But you can choose differently. You can choose to ask the question most people avoid. What am I here to say? What hearts am I here to move? What world am I here to shape? Let me tell you about a man named Javier, a father in a home divided by silence, where words had become weapons, where trust had eroded, where love had faded. Javier could have walked away, could have let the silence grow, could have let bitterness dictate his tongue. But Javier had a purpose. He knew why he was there, to heal his family, to rebuild with words, to show love through speech. And so he acted. He spoke with humility, listened with patience, shared with vulnerability. He didn't have perfection, but he had purpose. And that purpose turned him into a leader who mended hearts, a leader who restored trust, a leader who proved the power of a single, purposeful voice. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or public. It can be quiet, personal, fierce in its simplicity. It can be the way you encourage a child, the way you inspire a colleague, the way you uplift a stranger. But once you choose it, it will guide you. It will give you the strength to speak when silence feels safer, the courage to connect when division feels easier, the clarity to act when doubt clouds your mind. Most people lack purpose, or if they find it, they let fear stop them from speaking it. But you can choose differently. You can choose to claim your purpose, to live your purpose, to be your purpose. And purpose leads to discipline, because mastering your words is not a gift. It's a habit. It's the daily choice to speak with intention, to listen with care, to influence with purpose. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about choosing your vision over your ego, your clarity over your chaos, your destiny over your doubts. Most people lack discipline. They speak from impulse, act from reaction, live from habit. They start with good intentions, but they stop at resistance. They begin with strong words, but they quit at hardship. They dream of mastery, but they never practice it. Think of a musician tuning a violin, each string adjusted with precision, each note tested with care, each sound refined with practice. The instrument is delicate, the process is slow, the result is beautiful. That musician is you. The violin is your voice. The tuning is discipline, and the music is your world. Most people let their violin go out of tune. They speak without practice, live without refinement, influence without care. They don't tune the strings. They don't play the notes. They don't create the music. But you can choose differently. You can choose to tune your voice, to practice your craft, to master your world. Discipline means saying no to careless words so you can say yes to powerful ones. It means speaking with purpose when you'd rather lash out, listening with intent when you'd rather interrupt, connecting with care when you'd rather withdraw. It means choosing mastery day after day until your words become your legacy. Most people let ego derail them, let anger distract them, let laziness divide them. They don't do the work. They don't pay the price. They don't master their world. But you can choose differently. You can choose to be the blacksmith, to be the sculptor, to be the musician who creates a symphony of influence. Right now, I want you to think of one word you've spoken recently that you regret. Maybe it was harsh, maybe it was thoughtless, maybe it was weak. What's one small, disciplined action you can take today to replace that word with something better? It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be intentional. Do it. Not because it will change everything today, but because it will change who you are tomorrow. Because every small act of discipline builds mastery. Every choice to speak with purpose strengthens your voice. Every moment you choose influence over indifference makes you more powerful, more purposeful, more transformative.